Superintelligent AI is generally defined as an artificial intelligence that greatly outperforms the smartest and most skilled humans in every cognitive task, including creativity, reasoning, problem-solving, general wisdom, social skills, and self-improvement.
Let's say this column represents the intellectual capability of a cat, and this one represents that of a very smart human. Now imagine the intellectual capability of a superintelligent AI. It would be far beyond the intelligence of any human. Maybe at here.
Wow, big difference here.
It is because of this big difference. The development of superintelligent AI has raised concerns about potential existential risks to humanity, especially about open sourcing big AI model. Should the source code of this advanced AI model be made available to the public for modification and redistribution? Geoffrey Hinton, a world-famous AI researcher who is one of the 2024 Nobel Prize winners in physics. Let's hear what he said first.
I think if you want regulations, the most important regulation would be to not open source big models. So I think open sourcing big models is like being able to buy nuclear weapons at Radio Shack. Do you guys still remember what Radio Shack was? Maybe not. It's crazy to open source these big models because bad actors can then fine-tune them for all sorts of bad things.
Geoffrey Hinton argues that open sourcing a superintelligent AI model is equivalent to giving criminals easy access to nuclear weapons. However, he hasn't provided clear explanations or examples to show how or why open sourcing would lead to such a scenario. Luckily, Ilya Sutskever, the former OpenAI chief scientist, provides a hint.
But there is another longer-term argument against open sourcing as well, which is, if one believes that eventually AI is going to be unbelievably powerful, if we get to a point where your AI is so powerful, where you can just tell it, hey, can you autonomously create a biological research lab? Autonomously. Do all the paperwork, rent the space, hire the technicians, aggregate the experiments, do all this autonomously. Like that starts to get incredible, that starts to get like mind-bendingly powerful. Should this be open sourced also? So my position on the open source question, you can think about these neural networks in terms of capability. How capable they are, how smart they are, how much can they do? When the capability is on the lower end, I think open sourcing is a great thing. But at some point, and there can be debate about where the point is, but I would say that at some point the capability will become so vast that it will be obviously irresponsible to open source models.
Although what Ilya Sutskever said was about the AI production of bioweapons, not nuclear weapons, it is not difficult to imagine that an open-sourced superintelligent AI could be used to autonomously build nuclear weapons as well. He assumes that AI is just a tool, and that open sourcing it means giving this tool to anyone to use, including criminals or malicious people. We will discuss the debate between open-sourced and closed-sourced AI not now, but in the next video.
All right, so what should we focus on? Nuclear weapons or bioweapons? Well, I'm going with nuclear weapons, and here's why. While bioweapons like viruses can cause massive damage to our world over a long period, but here's the thing. With something like a virus, we could potentially use a superintelligent AI to develop artificial antibodies or other novel methods to neutralize the threat over time. At least with biological weapons, we'd still have a window to fight back. A nuclear bomb, however, can wipe out an entire city in minutes, and then there's the long-term damage from radiation. What's really terrifying is that short time frame. There's no chance for humans to react or stop the instant nuclear destruction once it begins. So, let's start with these two questions.
First question, is it really possible for malicious individuals to use an open-sourced superintelligent AI to autonomously build nuclear weapons? Second question, and if the answer for the first question is assumed to be yes, wouldn't someone notice about that?
Here's our short answer. No, it's it's still not possible for ordinary malicious individuals to build one. However, it is possible for a large and well-funded corporation or government to use an advanced AI to build one. As for the second question, yes, absolutely. Organizations like the CIA, FBI, and other countries would notice this kind of autonomous construction.
While you're playing mad scientist with your open source AI pal, the cops are playing Find the Nuclear Party Pooper with the exact same AI. It's like a cosmic game of hide and seek where the super AI is both the best friend and the tattletale. Yeah, ha 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 ha!
To see the reasons behind these answers, let's look at some history. In 1964, only Britain, America, France, and the Soviet Union had the atomic bomb. The US military desperately hoped that if the instructions for building it could be kept secret, proliferation to a fifth country, a sixth country, an nth country could be averted. That was why two physics postdocs, Dave Dobson and Bob Selden, were enlisted into a covert Pentagon operation known as the Nth Country Project. The question the project was designed to answer was a simple one.
Could a couple of non-experts with brains but no access to classified research crack the nuclear secret?
Here is the final result. With just the publicly available information about the superweapon, they successfully designed an atomic bomb by the end of 1966, 2.5 years after they began. They documented their design and handed it to the US military for feedback. Selden said,
"We produced a short document that described precisely in engineering terms what we proposed to build and what materials were involved. And the whole works, in great detail, so that this thing could have been made by Joe's machine shop downtown."
After 2 weeks of waiting for the feedback from the US military, Dobson recalls,
Senior researcher Jim Frank said, "I bet you guys want to know how it turned out." We said yes, and he told us that if it had been constructed, it would have made a pretty impressive bang. How impressive, we wanted to know. Then Frank replied, "On the same order of magnitude as Hiroshima."
Wow, that is indeed an impressive bang.
So, without any classified information, the two non-experts had spent 30 months to successfully design an atomic bomb. Here, we can reasonably assume that a superintelligent AI could design a much smaller and lethal atomic bomb within just 1 minute.
Hold on a moment, please. Here's a question. Today, you can find thousands of physics postdocs in almost every country. So why is it that only a few countries have actually developed and possessed nuclear weapons?
Does intelligence become redundant?
This question is closely related to the original.
Why is it impossible for malicious individuals to use an open-source superintelligent AI to autonomously build nuclear weapons to threaten humanity?
So let's answer both questions at the same time. First, based on the historical fact, it is not difficult to successfully design an atomic bomb. If you use a superintelligent AI, then it is super easy to design an even more sophisticated and advanced nuclear weapon. However, all nuclear weapons rely on the process of nuclear fission, and manufacturing the actual fission material is very hard. Particularly, producing either highly enriched uranium or weapon-graded plutonium is a technically daunting enterprise. For example, here is a quote. Opening a uranium mine requires significant capital investment and is a long process that often involves 10 to 15 years of lag time before the mine begins operation. The cost of the equipment for mining and milling uranium into uranium ore concentrate, which generally takes place on site, is over $100 million and can even reach into the billions. When natural uranium is mined, only 0.7% of it is U-235, while more than 99% is U-238, which cannot be used as a fission material. To make nuclear weapons material from natural uranium, the concentration of U-235 must be increased by separating it from the U-238, a process known as enrichment. Because both of these are isotopes of the chemical element uranium, they have essentially identical chemical properties, and separating them is a technically demanding process. The details of efficient enrichment technologies remain tightly controlled. Now, can a superintelligent AI know the secret of efficient enrichment?
definitely yes. However, knowing the answer is not enough. You would still have to invest billions of dollars to construct large factories filled with delicate machines to handle mining, enrichment, and the production of weapon-grade fission material.
Second, the superintelligent AI definitely knows how to create the weapon, but is still just an AI, who does not have physical legs and hands. So you have to somehow purchase or build hundreds or thousands of highly intelligent robots to actually produce the fission material, as well as the atomic bomb itself.
With just these two reasons, we already can infer that it's not possible for malicious individuals to use an open-sourced super AI to autonomously build nuclear weapons, because the sheer demand for physical labor and financial resources is still far beyond the reach of ordinary individuals. But we can change this question a little bit, can't we?
Well, is it possible for a malicious government or large corporation to use an open-sourced superintelligent AI to autonomously build nuclear weapons?
The answer is yes, it is possible, but there are still significant caveats. Take a look at the history of Iran, Iraq, and Libya. After developing for so many years, why do they still struggle to succeed? Why?
This triggers our third reason. Imagine now you become a large corporation supported the local government. You've got an army of robots working in massive factories and mining sites. Naturally, you'd hope nobody notices what you're up to, right? But here's the problem. With satellite imagery and the CIA on the lookout, your autonomous nuclear factories would be incredibly easy to spot. For example, underground construction activities were detected in late 2020 using commercial satellite imagery south of the Natanz nuclear facility, Iran. For another example, satellite images captured the massing of Russian forces on the Ukrainian border. Columns of military units, destroyed buildings, burning vehicles, and bodies scattered over streets. These images of war are now on our screens with unprecedented speed and detail.
What about its resolution?
Here is a quote. Current commercial systems can acquire data with a 30 centimeter cm and 31 centimeter resolution in the panchromatic, black and white, respectively. By comparison, U.S. government-owned spy satellites can produce imagery with a top resolution at the level of 10 centimeters, as evidenced by former President Trump's tweet showing a failed Iranian missile launch in 2019. As a result, other countries would do everything in their power to stop your nuclear progress. Whether it's waging war, imposing the harshest sanctions, or even resorting to direct raid.
Be aware that other countries can also use the power of the same open-sourced, super-intelligent AI to detect what you are doing and stop you. Here is another quote. Aided by AI, this could be exploited to create an automated system that monitors sites and detects the appearance or removal of objects relevant to civilian and military nuclear programs for all atmospheric conditions and during the night. Establishing secret nuclear programs, both for energy and weapons, and maintaining secrecy around existing ones could soon become extremely difficult, if not impossible.
This triggers the last and most important reason, which is, from Ilya's assumption, the AI is just a tool, and it can be used for bad purposes. However, it can also be used for good, like protecting humanity. Ilya believes his imaginary scenario, where malicious individuals could use an ASI to autonomously build weapons of mass destruction. Perhaps he loves to do this futuristic and magic thinking. Why don't we follow his magic train even further?
So let's imagine this magic, futuristic, and philosophical scenario. You ask a super-intelligent AI to teach you how to build a magic robot, and it does. This robot, in turn, builds a magic printer in your basement. This printer can magically and instantly create anything out of thin air, even an atomic bomb. But just as you're about to launch the nuke, the police capture you. Confused, you wonder, how did they know?
Well, here's the twist. Long before you asked the superintelligent AI for help, the police had already done the same. They asked the AI to create a magic printer that could produce countless tiny robots. These robots aren't nano-sized, but small enough to be invisible to the naked eye. scattered like grains of sand across the globe.
Some of them are larger and more sophisticated in function, so those bigger ones are disguised by altering their forms to look like tiny mosquitoes or other insects.
These tiny robots monitor nearly every corner of the Earth. Every action you take is under their watchful eye. So, when you tried to create a nuclear weapon, the police were instantly alerted and stopped you. The threat was neutralized before it could escalate.
Perhaps this may be just a fictional scenario, but it underscores a powerful idea. The same tool used for harm can also be used to prevent harm. This reveals a fascinating and philosophical symmetry in the use of tools.
Wait a minute, in this scenario you have lost privacy to the police, right?
Yes, but in this case, it's a trade-off. The nuclear threat is far worse than losing privacy. However, violating privacy is definitely not acceptable in many other scenarios. Once privacy is sacrificed, it becomes difficult to draw the line between justifiable surveillance and intrusive authoritarianism. This could lead to a loss of individual freedoms and societal trust. That's one of the main reasons this powerful technology shouldn't be limited to closed-source use. Concentrating enormous power in the hands of a small group dramatically increases the chances of global surveillance and dictatorship, which could harm society in the long run. Instead of one single centralized entity controlling the AI, developing a distributed network managed by many independent entities could minimize misuse while maintaining effectiveness. This decentralized approach fosters transparency and balances power, making misuse far less likely. We'll dive deeper into the devastating threats posed by closed-source AI in the next video.
Now, let's go back to the realistic scenario. Instead of nuclear weapons, what about using an open-sourced superintelligent AI to autonomously build dynamite or a machine gun?
In this case, many of the previous points still apply. For example, even without the AI, the information to build dynamite or a machine gun is already available on the internet. If you search hard enough, you'll find it. Sure, the AI can accelerate the building process, especially for someone who lacks expertise. But here's the catch again. The AI doesn't have physical legs or hands. You'd still need to use your own hands or hire others to do the actual construction.
By the way, the answer to this question is not complete here because in the not-so-distant future, perhaps around 2045, there might be scenarios where autonomously building dynamite or a machine gun could actually become necessary for everyone to use. It's not an Armageddon or apocalypse we'll see around 2045. Rather, it's something different, driven by the evolution of the future economic system. Here is a prediction. By the year 2045, superintelligent AI and robotics will empower every ordinary individual to function similarly to a country. It will be you to govern yourself. Just as every nation today maintains a defense budget and possesses numerous weapons, so too will each individual in 2045. By this time, the intelligence of the average person will have been significantly augmented by new technology, making each individual smarter than an entire country is today. Moreover, these individuals will handle weapons with far greater safety and wisdom than countries do currently. For more detail, let's save this intriguing topic for a future video.
While the AI's ability to accelerate harmful goals raises legitimate concerns about open-sourcing superintelligent AI, let me tell you, you haven't seen the worst outcomes yet. These emerge when we decide to close-source a superintelligent AI. In the next video, we'll present 3 darker scenarios where the entire human civilization could be completely destroyed by a single closed-sourced superintelligent AI, much worse than the open-sourcing one. By the way, if I had that magic printer capable of building anything out of thin air, here's what I'd do. First, I'd ask it to create intelligent robots and an advanced spacecraft so I could escape Earth and settle on another planet. Once I'm there, I'd use the printer and the robots to build a sophisticated missile defense system capable of intercepting incoming nuclear missiles from Earth. Think of it as my personal Iron Dome, only smarter and more precise. Meanwhile, I'd use the printer to print out food and water and have the robots construct a human-friendly habitat. This habitat would grow even more food, generate water and oxygen, and ultimately support a self-sustaining lifestyle.
Living on another planet, would you need nuclear weapons for defense?
Actually, yes. In fact, there might be scenarios where I'd need quite a few. Picture this. If a massive comet or asteroid threatens to collide with my habitat, I might have to deploy multiple nuclear missiles. These could either shatter the incoming object into smaller, less harmful pieces, or alter its trajectory enough to avoid a catastrophic impact on my habitat. Right? In this futuristic scenario, nuclear missiles might serve not only as an ideal defense mechanism to ensure my territory's independence from Earth, but also as a pragmatic tool for survival.
Okay, but will you feel lonely on that planet?
No, I have my friends to live with me on that planet, especially my super-intelligent friends. This is the first step to be a truly independent species, who can freely explore and discover the beauty of our universe. And please keep in mind,
if the AI is just a tool, the same tool used for harm can also be used to prevent harm. This is a hidden and profound symmetry of our nature.
If you like, please share this video and subscribe our channel. Thanks for watching.